Most people who are working out, i.e. lifting weights, are likely not pushing themselves even remotely hard enough. But if I was there in your ear, talking to you about something that you truly desire, talking to you about your family, asking you if you thought this was enough, if you thought that you could get another one because your family's relying on you, that deep why for you, that bar would fly up, that dumbbell would fly up. And yes, it would be miserable. You would hate it, but you would do it. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. I'm an executive coach that helps successful professionals get wealthy outside of the office in their mind, their body, and their relationships. I'm an expert at this because I did it myself. I sat inside of corporate America for 20 years. That's 2 decades, likely in a seat just like one you sit in today. If I can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. This is the Success Lift podcast, and I'm Brian. And thank you for being back with me again this week. We are already in the month of March. January is gone. February is gone. We will be soon wishing each other a happy new year, pushing into 2026. How are you doing so far? Are you off to the start that you thought you were going to be when it was just a snap of a finger and it was just December 31st last year? Remember, if you listened or watched the podcast last week, I talk about the good old days. And these are the good old days, but man, does time fly. And I could vividly remember playing catch with my son 8 or so years ago, 9 years ago, on our couch in New Jersey, in our living room, having him do the diving catch as I whiz the ball across from the kitchen. And that was yesterday. And now he's a freshman in high school. And he's playing baseball and he's playing basketball. And I'm not really the guy that he shoots around with or plays catch with anymore. And that sucks. If I wanted to, he still would. But in general, time's going to fly. Time's going to fly in our lives overall. Time is going to fly this year in 2025. So if you are not where you want to be, please, I beg you, listen to this podcast more. Subscribe to my email list. That'll help you get where you want to be. Go to thesuccesslift.com/join, and you can sign up in 5 seconds. Or if you know me personally, shoot me a text message, shoot me an email, brian@thesuccesslift.com. Send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn at Brian Pannuzzo, and let me know that you want to be on it. I'll add you personally myself. If you are enjoying this show, I would very much appreciate it if you share it with somebody. It means a lot to me, and I want to grow the show, and I want to impact more people. I consistently hear how people are impacted and enjoy this conversation, typically that I have with a camera and myself most weeks, but every once in a while, I bring a guest on. I got a client coming on next week, I think, for episode number 250. We are almost at 250 episodes. Wow. Quarter of 1,000. Just made that up on my own. Let's get to this week's topic. Does this sound like you? Because this sounds like a lot of people that I talk to. I went away a couple of weeks ago. I met a lot of new people. They were all great. Anytime I meet new people, they tell me what they're doing in their life, and they find out what I do. So they find out I'm an executive coach. They find out I run corporate wellness programs. They find that I run health, wellness, mental performance, physical performance, relational performance type of programs, one-on-one with high-performing executives and inside of corporate America. They always want to tell me what they're doing, and they always want to tell me why it's their way and it just works for them, and yet I look at them and it very clearly does not work for them. And so many people say a lot of the same things over and over again. And when you do this long enough and you have as many conversations as I've had with clients and with prospective clients and with friends and with people you just meet hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times now over the last 6 years, some very repetitive and obvious patterns emerge. And so today I'm going to share some of those with you because most likely many of these things are happening in your life. And while they're not all individually the thing that's causing you not to get your results, collectively, they typically are not getting you where you want to be. And there is a better way. Somebody who's speaking right now might be aware of one, who's tested it themselves, who's sat inside of a high pressure, high stress, high demand job in an environment that is not conducive to living your healthiest life from a mental and physical performance standpoint, and started to figure it out and tested it on himself, and then took others through it and continually revised the process and the plan and the structure and the program, and will always do that, and now has something that's pretty cool and gets some great results for people who put the effort in. And that guy's me, if you're wondering. I'm not really sure if you were wondering. You probably didn't know, but now you know. So does this sound like you a lot? Okay. I talk to a lot of people that tell me I'm going to air quote the hell out of this, they eat pretty good. I eat pretty good. Do you eat pretty good? Do you actually know what you eat? Do you know your numbers? Do you track what you eat? You probably don't. Most people don't track what they eat. All right. Do you get your workout in? Do you value your workout? Right? Do you tell me about your HIIT class when I start talking to you, or your boot camp class, or this, whatever it is that you're doing, your Orange Theory, or you lift weights? Because you might lift weights the way I want you to lift weights. You actually don't, but you think you do. But do you get up, get that workout in, prioritize it, then sit around most of your day? Do you YOLO once every 7 to 10 days? Do you just go off the freaking rails and not worry about what it is you're consuming, and sort of forget when you say, I eat pretty good, that once every 7 to 10 days, you take down 3 days worth of calories via food and alcohol? Do you drink several days a week, but you just have a few? You just have 2 to 3. You just have 3 to 4. If you have 3 to 4, you forget that you actually might have had 6. And of those 6, at least 3 are doubles, because we don't pour singles. Why would you ever pour a single when you could pour a double? So in reality, your 2 to 3 in your head, which is what you have on one random day a week, is really like 12 to 14 throughout the week, if not more. Every single person that I start working with, for the most part, has at least 6 meaningless, usually more, drinks per week. And that means they pour the doubles. That means they have them on Tuesdays or Wednesdays when it's just kind of random and what they always did. That means they have a few on a Saturday during a game, because I have never not watched the game on a Saturday or a Sunday and not had a few pops. So it's what I always do. They drink on the golf course because I've always drank on the golf course. What do you mean I shouldn't drink on the golf course? So are your, I don't drink too much, I just drink a couple of days a week. Are you really, from a quantity perspective, are you drinking the equivalent of almost every day? I have clients track their drinks. I have clients track everything. I hope you're sensing a theme here. But I used to I now have clients on an app. Everything is automated. Everything feeds. It's seamless. It's connected. It's amazing. I used to use Google Sheets, and I used to ask my clients to track the number of alcoholic beverages, and they would put the number in a Google Sheet in each cell, day after day after day. And yeah, there was always some zeros, some ones here and there, but every few days there would be 3. Then the next day 2. Then the day after that 1. Then maybe a 0 and a 1, and then there would be a 12. And then there would be a 2, and then there would be 1, 1, 3, 0, 4, 1, 0, 12. So every 10 days or so, they were having, 10 to 12. But when I gave them their average, because I could just simply go in and average up the numbers, their averages were 2.67 drinks per day, 1.75 drinks per day, 3.23 drinks per day. When you phrase it to someone like that, it's very eye-opening, because you don't think about your average per day. And so are you drinking a couple days a week, or are you just having a couple of drinks here and there? Is that really what's happening? Do you take a 3 to 4 day break once or so a month, meaning you stop working out, you stop caring about what you eat, you sit around most of the day, you eat like you're going to the goddamn electric chair, and you drink too much? Are you taking 4 days off like that per week? Maybe via a couple of weekends, maybe via one, trip. Maybe it's 1 day a week, your cheat day. Do you have a cheat day? If you have a cheat day once a week, you're likely consuming 3 days worth of calories in that one day, and you are shocked that you're not making progress. So are you taking too many days off in your month? That's completely sabotaging the rest of your progress. Can you imagine? Here's the prison that most people put themselves in. And when I notice it, when my clients are doing it, I try to jump off the top rope like Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and I try to body slam them as hard as I can, because this is the biggest prison that most of us put ourselves in. You are effectively, you feel like you're dieting for 5 days a week. You feel like you're dieting most of the time. You are actively restricting yourself. You are not eating everything that you want to. You are doing better, or you're trying to do better. And then 2 days a week, or maybe it's those 4 days a month in random spots, you are just going off the goddamn rails. And so the amount of time you're spending dieting, in air quotes, and I have to put it in air quotes because you're not dieting in air quotes, far exceeds the number of days and time you are not. But the behavior when you are not is overwhelming the dieting that you're doing. And so the prison that most people find themselves in is that they try more often than they don't try. But when they don't try, they really fucking don't try. And when they really don't try, they overwhelm the time that they're trying. Do you see what I'm getting at here? You are feeling like you're trying, you are feeling like you're putting effort in, and your results are basically zero. You might even be going backwards. And that's why most people can say these silly things like, I look at food and I get fat. I have one bad day and I gain weight. Well, yeah, because your one bad day is 10,000 calories and your good days are 2,000. And if you have 6 2,000 days and one 10,000 day, that doesn't really add up. All right. If you think that you're having 2,000 calories a week, you ain't. You're not. All right. When I ask you about your nutrition, is this you? Do you tell me about your supplements and your peptides and your growth hormone and your testosterone that you started taking? Or do you tell me about the lean protein, the high fiber, the fruits and vegetables that you consume? Do you know how many grams of protein you should be consuming per day? I guarantee that you're not consuming enough. Not one single person that I've ever begun working with has ever been consuming adequate protein. If their goal is body composition, looking their best, taking their shirt off and feeling uber confident, having their significant other go, wow, you look great. Having the confidence when they walk into a meeting, knowing that they are the most fit person in that room. If you would like to close more business, if you would like to improve your financial performance at the office, get more fit. There's no other way for me to explain that other than just give it a shot, see what happens. And if you don't like the results, you can always get fat again. That's what I tell people all the time. Just do it for a little while. If you don't like it, you can always go back. You won't. I promise you, you won't. Is this you? When you go to the gym, you do 3 sets of 10. You do 4 sets of 12. You do 3 sets of 15. Is it the same weight? Do you just pick up the weight and put it down and then move on to the next thing? Do you have any Tourette's when you're finishing your set? Do you have any thought of why in the world am I doing this? This is so hard right now. Or do you just put the weight down and run to the next thing because you can? Most people who are working out, i.e. lifting weights, are likely not pushing themselves even remotely hard enough. You usually have at least 4 reps left in the tank when you think you're done, okay? The brain starts to talk to you at about 4 to 5 reps left, which is like, okay, this is uncomfortable, I'm gonna stop. But if I was there in your ear, talking to you about something that you truly desire, talking to you about your family, asking you if you thought this was enough, if you thought that you could get another one because your family's relying on you, there, that deep why for you, that bar would fly up, that dumbbell would fly up over and over and over again. And yes, it would be miserable. You would hate it, but you would do it. And that's how you have to train sometimes when you want to grow new lean muscle tissue, which most men that I work with want. In fact, the women that I work with want as well. Is this you? You think that if you lift heavy, you're going to get big and bulky and start walking around like a bodybuilder. Good luck. Good luck. I've been lifting heavy for a few years now. I look damn good, but I don't look like a bodybuilder. There are guys in my gym, there are friends of mine that make me look like the scrawny giraffe that I used to be. Not anymore, though. Not anymore. But relatively speaking, they make me look tiny. You are not going to get big and bulky. You have gotten big and bulky in the past because you have started to lift more and you eat like an animal. Okay, so if you control and manipulate calories, which is what we do, and we complement that with proper resistance training, your body changes real fast. Promise you. Promise you. Is this you? Do you go to the gym and do 3 times the amount of cardio of strength training that you do compared to strength training? Not if you work with me. I have people that run marathons, that do long distance, that run ultras. So it's not like this. You can only work with me if you want to be a bodybuilder. But most people have body composition goals and performance goals and just want to feel good. And to do that, there's a very specific set of inputs that you must master. And doing cardio 3 times as much as you lift weights is not one of them. Is this you? Do you skip breakfast at work? Do you snack all day? Do you say you don't eat that much, but if we actually looked at the data when you were to record it, which you're not, you are accumulating high quantities of calories over time? Are you snacking on things? Are you trail mixing yourself to death? Are you grabbing bars here and there? Are you skipping breakfast because you're fasting, but then the donuts show up at 10:45 or 11 and you're starving and you don't have a plan for lunch, so you take down a couple of glazed? Do you have a plan for when you break your fast and execute it, or do you get caught up in back-to-back meetings and someone's going to get cheesesteaks, so you just have them wave one in for you? There's nothing wrong with fasting, but you have to understand, I've seen this now hundreds of times with people. There's no plan to break the fast, and they're susceptible at their desk with hunger accumulating hour through hour of their morning. And when something shows up, they don't have a plan. What works far better for most of my executives is sipping on a protein shake if they truly want to be fasting. I understand that's not fasting. That's calories. I totally get it. But when you put cream in your coffee, that's calories too, and you've broken your fast, if we want to get technical here, folks. Okay? So you're much better off, like I used to do, sip on a protein shake throughout my morning. It does nothing to impact your satiety when it comes to lunch, but it does help you feel a bit satiated so that when something does show up, you're good. Plus, oh, by the way, for 200 calories, you get another 40 plus grams of protein in, and all of you aren't consuming enough protein. So it's a very easy way and a super effective strategy for my very busy, high-performing professionals who are inside the office, grinding it out in the morning, and sometimes don't have time or the desire to eat first thing. But it's impacting them in their decision-making process when it comes to lunch. And it's also not helping them get to their protein target on a particular day, which is most days. Give that a shot if that's you. Is this you? Are you good until after dinner? Hear that all the time. I'm great all day, and then I struggle after dinner. It's part of the day, so that means you're not great by definition. You snacking on 1,000 calories after dinner likely pushes you into a caloric surplus. Caloric deficits are needed to lose weight. And so if you are snacking on bullshit after the hours of dinner time, it's not the bullshit. It's not the sugar. It's not the grains. It's not the processed food. It is too many goddamn calories. And so it's not any of these processed foods' faults. It's your fault for eating them. Are they easier to eat and overconsume? Of course they are. Of course they are. Try overconsuming apples after dinner. If I allowed you, which I have done with many of my clients who have struggles with PM snacking, if I allowed you to eat unlimited fruit after dinner, you would have an apple, you'd have some grapes, maybe you'd have an orange, and then you'd go, you know what? I'm done with this. This is good. And all you did was add another, probably at most, 250 to 300 calories to your day, as opposed to getting in the pantry, having one of those Girl Scout cookies, and then going, well, the rule is you can't just have one. And once I eat one, I have to eat the sleeve. And there's 1,200 calories for you. And more importantly, and more impactfully, there's your confidence getting dinged again, because right as you put that last one from the sleeve in your mouth, you start to feel like shit. And then you go through the same shame cycle. I did it again. And if I could just stop doing this. There's a lot of ways for us to attack that. Inside of a program like mine, we develop your own elite self-image. We develop a desire for you to be a new human being, this incredible version of yourself. And at any moment in time, you can check in with that person. Would the elite version of Brian be sitting here in the dark, shoveling Thin Mints into my face right now? Would that guy do this? If you get real good at that, you don't even need to hire a coach, because you can always check in with that future version of yourself. What would he or she do today to move their life forward and to create an epic version of themselves, to be the coolest, baddest MFer in the room when they walk in? To have people ask them, like, what are you doing? I have people asking my clients. It's become very normal for me because I've started to I've looked this way for a while now, but I have some of my clients experiencing that, where they're like, someone at a work function pulls them over to the side, like at the bar or at the cocktail hour or whatever. And they're like, hey, I've been meaning to ask you, what the fuck are you doing? That's cool. That's pretty cool. I appreciate you guys. If any of these things sound like you, it makes you normal, because it's most people who are actually giving it a go. Look, if you're sitting on the couch all day, every day, eating like you're going to the electric chair, you're probably not listening to this. So I don't even need to justify that. You are likely trying to improve your life. You have likely gone in waves of up and down and up and down, because you're doing all these things. And inherently, one or two of these things aren't necessarily bad. They're not good. They're not the cause of, they're not the reason for. But when you combine a lot of these things together, have them all on a piece of paper, which is why I keep looking like this and going like that. When you combine all of these things together, they create pretty shitty results, if I'm going to be honest. And it's what a lot of people are doing. It's what they say to me over and over. And I thought if I package it this way and presented it to you, that maybe you would give some thought into whether or not you're doing them too. And if you are, I would highly advise you to start to change those. If this one helped you, please share it with somebody else. I appreciate you. Please join us next week for an incredible conversation with one of my longtime clients and great friends for episode number 250 of the show. We'll see you back here next week.